So we'll try to give a non-biased video here on the comparison between WordPress and Webflow, although we definitely do take a side. So click off if you're looking for a completely unbiased video, I would say.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we have built in WordPress a little bit before. So
we have. There's a reason we're biased, in our opinion.
That is true. Yeah. That is true.
So do you want to go a little bit first into the pros of WordPress and what makes WordPress good?
Yeah, so we'll play nice first. We'll play nice. So WordPress, first off, is just customizability. It has been the number one choice for the past decade. If you want to do something that's really pretty decent, that has a lot more custom features. You want to build a platform for your website, versus like the template builders, your Wixes and your Squarespaces. It provides that level of complexity that you might need and that level of professionalism that you could potentially need with a website. We've had clients that have had pretty decent, large websites on WordPress before.
Yeah, I would say it has a lot of benefits. You're able to build something that's it's pretty broad. You could work with a lot of different situations. It doesn't specialize in one thing. It specializes in a lot of things, I would say.
It's jack of all trades, master of none when it comes to platforms, website building platforms. It's can pretty much do anything. The community for WordPress is old. It's been around for a long time. People are still building new plugins. Plugins, can blessing and a curse. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But they're available, so it can do most of anything. But it's not super great at one thing in particular.
And I think that's a perfect segue into talking about one of the cons of WordPress would be plugins. They're a pro and a con. What's the problem with plugins when it comes to using a lot of plugins for your WordPress website?
So I like to equate this to, a lot of people, I guess for people that are looking to build websites, video games. If you have ever been a PC gamer and modding video games, you know how hard it is when you have two mods that interfere with the same files. They do something somewhat similar and they crash together and then they burn and the game doesn't play right and it's an absolute nightmare. Plugins are the same way when it comes to WordPress. Also, and on top of that problem is that if you have things that are interfering with each other, is that they update and they change and sometimes you can't do anything about it. So when an update happens for a plugin, there's a possibility that the way that you built that plugin into your website will crash the entire website or break whatever you were using it for, which is obviously not good. It makes a lot more work for you as a web designer, and it also makes for really unhappy clients who have a website that is breaking on them, and it's a lot of time integral to their business. Yeah,
and so we have seen that before. We've seen companies, especially when it comes to e-commerce companies, if you're selling products online and your website is just going down, suddenly snap your fingers and the website is just completely broken. Either something is showing or just nothing is showing up. You're losing money. Hand over fist, right? And you want a website that's going to be up. And plugins, like Clay said, if they're clashing with each other or just an update happens and something was wrong, they can completely tear apart the site. So that's one of the cons.
For certain. It doesn't help also, so site speed is our next topic. Site speed with WordPress, the bigger your site gets and the more that you're hosting independently on your WordPress file, the slower it gets and it starts to move like this. We had a project that was a client website previously. I think it was like 1 minute and 30 seconds plus load times on certain pages, which is...
certain pages physically would not load. And that is also a problem if you're a business trying to get traffic. Imagine you're somebody who's searching the internet and you click on a site and you're sitting there and it's not loading. Over time, you're going to just click back and you're going to find a different website. And that's what Google's great for, is finding other websites that work. So at the end of the day, I would say that having a website that loads fast and works is essential.
Especially for client experience. You want your client to feel like they're being taken care of and you care about them, and that you are a professional business. You want to give that impression, and if your website doesn't load, then probably they're not going to be able to get a good impression of what you do and why you do it, and you probably care a lot about your business. It's definitely your baby, but it doesn't work out, not so good. So not good for your clients' websites.
Okay, so we've talked about what we think about WordPress, our honest thoughts, and let's now move into Webflow. What are some of the pros of Webflow? Why are people moving to Webflow, and what makes the community around Webflow just so exciting right now?
Yeah, awesome. So Webflow is fantastic because the level of customization is absolutely incredible. You feel like you're working in an Adobe software, Photoshop or Illustrator. The tool set that is available, you don't have to add any plugins. Like with WordPress, you need to use special plugins to build the actual website itself. You can't just build in pure WordPress, or else you're going to make something that's pretty mediocre and not okay. So everyone's building in the same platform. The community is absolutely incredible. If you need any help with anything that you're building, there is entire forums of Webflow professionals that are willing to take a look for you and help you with your project for free, which is super incredible.
Yeah, definitely. There's the Webflow Showcase, and there's just so many examples of awesome websites built on the Webflow platform, and they're going to blow your mind away. Like, trust me, if you look up amazing Webflow websites, you're going to see some work that is absolutely mind-blowing, and it's done relatively cheaply compared to some of the other web design tools.
Yeah, so one of the greatest advantages of Webflow is what it enables you to do in the same amount of budget that you'd have for a WordPress website. Anyone that's worked in a WordPress website knows how annoying it is configuring your plugins, configuring your databases, making sure everything is just working in general is a real hassle. And a lot of the times you need someone with significant coding experience, or at least as a veteran WordPresser, to actually make a functioning and valuable website for a client. When it comes to Webflow, you don't have to worry about all that stuff. Everything is taken care of by Webflow systems automatically. So you, instead of focusing on doing all the annoying technical garbage, you can work on making a fantastic customer experience, which is how you make better stuff than your competitors.
That's definitely what is just transforming the web design industry right now, is the fact that with Webflow, you don't have to speak another language. You don't have to speak the language of coders, right? There's a funny Webflow ad that's like, it's talking to a coder and saying, hey, we need these changes, and he just starts going on a rant that the client doesn't understand. They're like, what are you talking about? Webflow is made simple, and it just works. Everything was built in a way that the client understands, the designer understands, and you can make products that are far superior to any other platform, in our opinion, and for a reasonable price and a reasonable scope. So.
Yeah, it's really built for designers, but if you have more development skills, then it opens the gates. You can do absolutely anything in Webflow if you have the technical knowledge. But even if you don't have in-depth technical knowledge of how websites work and and complex coding and making your own systems, it can all be done for you with Webflow. You don't have to worry about it.
Yep. So now let's go into a few of the problems with Webflow. We can't make this video without talking about some of the honest issues that Webflow has.
Yes, as much as we want.
So one of the first issues is that it lacks a membership and a login experience. The Webflow native platform does not have a great way to actually implement that. You want to talk a little bit about that and maybe what some of the alternatives would be? Yeah,
we've had clients that have wanted a proper membership experience, and we supplemented that in different ways. There are third-party companies like MemberStack. They have a great plugin for Webflow. There are actually a lot of really fantastic, well-developed plugins for Webflow that work a lot better because Webflow is a more consistent platform. So they don't need to, you don't really need to worry about breaking plugins because things are synchronized. So MemberStack is really fantastic for doing membership if you are interested in doing something like that. It is a little bit more complicated, of course. It's not built natively into Webflow. But Webflow is looking into, in their next couple updates, adding their own native membership system. Actually, I'm going to talk again about a pro. I'm going to break the rules a little bit of Webflow. They add updates all the time. They're always improving the designer experience and the client experience by creating these new tools that you're able to very easily implement and create really awesome websites. So they're doing more like coding logic, visual coding logic. If you're familiar with Unreal Engine, the video game engine, it's just like that. We're super excited for that to come out. And as well, as I mentioned before, the membership experience, they're going to be adding that as well.
Yeah, it's a really exciting thing that we're onto right now with Webflow. They're really on top of it, and they know what the community wants, and they're working to add some of these features that might be lacking right now. And that leads us into the second point. The other thing that Webflow is lacking currently would be e-commerce situations. So let's say that you're selling a lot of products online. Webflow, it does have native e-commerce, although it's not the greatest system. you don't have all of the data processing and the product fulfillment that Shopify or other like WooCommerce, other platforms might have. And that would be one of the other main cons I see with Webflow.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a problem at the moment. It's probably 40% of the feature set that is available on Shopify and WooCommerce. Once it does grow, though, it is going to overtake Shopify. I'm going to put my prediction down right now. I'll write it down. It's in this video. I think Webflow, once they actually do increase the feature set of their e-commerce, it's going to be the platform to go to. Mm-hmm. Super excited for the day that comes out.
Although I do want to make a really quick mention. We're not going to talk about it very much, but if you do want to integrate e-commerce into your site, there are a lot of solutions in Webflow for doing that. And that would be integrating other softwares like Shopify, for example. Yeah. But we're not going to get into that in this video. So I hope we were able to break down the comparison between WordPress and Webflow. I think we went into a lot of the pros and cons of each, and I know it might have been a little biased, but we do love our Webflow. So yeah, do you have anything else to add before we close out?
Yeah, I mean, it says a lot. We started in we started in WordPress, and then we left, and I think we pretty clearly explained why we did that. We gave it a fair shot, and it didn't really work out. You're free to do whatever you please, and trying both platforms. And leave in the comments what do you think.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for being here, Clay.
It's my pleasure.